You are now tuned in to the Heroically Watching Podcast. Be prepared to laugh, cry, and get extremely angry at our terrible movie takes. Welcome into the Heroically Watching Podcast. This is our first ever episode. I am your host, The Nerd, or also known as Kel, joined by my co-host, Len, and today we have a plethora of different topics to cover here today, including Channing Tatum, talking about Gambit and Avengers Doomsday, talking about the new DCU film Clayface starting filming. We're going to be giving our rankings of the summer movies in 2025, our most anticipated movies for the rest of the year, and much, much more. How are we feeling today, Len?
We are feeling good. We are ready to go.
All right. I think we should just hop right into our very first topic, which I'm very excited about. And that is Channing Tatum teasing Gambit and a fight scene in Avengers Doomsday. What did you think of Channing Tatum's performance in Deadpool and Wolverine? I think that's a great way to start this conversation. What did you think of the accent?
The accent I didn't like. I mean, It was good for the movie. It was good for Deadpool. It fit the comedic style. I know they're dropping it for this movie, though, which is what I'm excited for.
He said so I was reading... Correct. Yeah, I was reading the article on Variety, and Tatum was saying that he's not going to go full Cajun for this one. And the quote that really stuck out to me was... the directors of the film, Anthony and Joe Russo, want things to be funny, but they don't want to go full Deadpool. They want to keep the drama and keep it tight. When Gambit gets serious, when he drops the Mardi Gras mask, things do matter. And I think that's important because it's a concern that I've had with Avengers Doomsday, having like a character like Deadpool or even like someone like She-Hulk in terms of like fourth wall breaking. I don't want to break the tension, and I don't want something like that to take us out of the film. And obviously Gambit's not going to break the fourth wall, but comedy like that kind of takes me out of the movie, especially when it's going to have such high stakes as Avengers Doomsday.
Yes, I agree. It's like I said, it's perfect for a movie like Deadpool where it is all about fourth wall breaks.
Mm-hmm.
The tension isn't as high, but a movie like Doomsday, the big finale before a potential soft reset, or I think, is it confirmed now a soft reset? I'm
For
sure they
what?
don't have a much more serious tone for the MCU as a whole.
No, I mean, we don't have any news of there being like a complete reset or anything yet. I mean, there's been talks of after Secret Wars, the MCU will hit like a little mini reset, but Doomsday will keep the canon that's been involved. If you're talking about them reining in humor for their films, I don't know. I mean, I think like blockbuster films such as the MCU films are always going to have those quips and those jokes in them, which I do think can hinder the films at times because it does feel forced at times, whereas in some other films it comes off a bit more natural. But no, I think it will have a different tone compared to Deadpool and Wolverine and be less comedic, but there will definitely be those quips and humor, and I don't expect there to be a reset in Doomsday. You there?
Yeah, I'm
Len?
right here. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Yep, Len's here.
Len is here. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about as well is this fight that he was kind of teasing. So apparently he got injured on set, and it sounds like it's pretty severe. He's taking pain medication, requires intensive physical therapy, and he's had to be sidelined from some action scenes due to this injury, which sounds like Gambit kind of has, I don't want to treat his injury as nothing because we're talking about his role in the film here, but from the article it seems like Gambit is heavily featured in this film and has a few different action sequences. Did you expect that? Because I didn't.
No, I did not expect him to be a major character, or at least a larger character in these movies. I thought he would kind of take a backseat. It makes me kind of wonder what his place is going to be in this movie, too.
Yeah.
because you don't know where he's coming from or anything. But
yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious to see, what they do with that and how. I mean, there's so many characters in the film, and juggling the screen times for these characters. I'm guessing the action sequences for Gambit wouldn't be like solo action sequences. It would be like an ensemble, but it's still interesting hearing that he has that hefty of a role if the scenes aren't deleted at the end as well.
yes. I'm guessing he's going to be in tandem with the X-Men, is what I'm assuming they're going to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure his fight scenes will all be.
It'd be interesting though, is so like we know that the Thunderbolts will be in this film. We know that the Avengers will be in this film, whatever that team is and whatever that team looks like for Captain America. And we know it's Captain America, Falcon, and whatever else whatever else the roster looks like. And then you have those Fox X-Men, characters coming into play. But Gambit was never a part of the or Channing Tatum's Gambit was never a part of the Fox X-Men films. He was supposed to get his own solo film, but it would be interesting if there was a third group of people, and it's the people from the Void. Like maybe Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, or Wesley Snipes as Blade coming back, and Jennifer Gardner as Elektra, like in X-23, like their own group. Do you think there's a possibility of having a third group in there, like, or do you think we'll just join in with like the Fox X-Men?
I think there's a good chance, because I mean we did see Gambit in the X-Men movies already from their universe.
Yeah.
But I guess they technically don't have a tie with the MCU, so they could throw him in there if they want. I'm wondering if they're gonna use him in the beginning of the movie, sort of like how they used Thanos in Infinity War, where he just wiped the floor to kind of show how powerful he is going in.
That could be a possibility. I don't mind that at all. But let us know your thoughts down below in the comments on Channing Tatum's screen time. What do you think it's going to look like for him? Are you happy with them toning down the Cajun accent for this film? Do you agree with our takes here? Do you disagree with our takes here? It's okay if you disagree. I disagree with my takes the next day after I make them, so that's completely fine. But I do want to move into our next topic here, which we are going to be discussing the Marvel Zombies trailer and how we think it looked. It just dropped today, so let me hear what you have to say, Len. I am very curious. What were your thoughts on the trailer of the Marvel Zombies?
Okay, I am very excited personally. We get our first appearance of Blade in the MCU, and it looks like he's going to be a Fist of Khonshu.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's very interesting. I like that.
So I'm sure that's why we're getting him as a main character. He's probably going to be way stronger than normal to take down all the. I mean, you see him in the fight scene with Ghost, and he's just it's phenomenal. He looks amazing. And then Spider-Man's not holding back. You get him just decapitating like 20 zombies. Yeah. Shang-Chi, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a lot of Shang-Chi, so I'm very excited to get some more Shang-Chi in the MCU.
Yeah, it's great. And then was it Miss Marvel as a part of the group as well? Miss Marvel.
I didn't see Miss Marvel in there, but Miss Marvel probably was in there. I wouldn't be surprised at it. I went in completely blind to the trailer, so hearing like Mahershala Ali's voice as Blade, I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy! This is sick." I wonder when they filmed this. The other question I had for you is, did you watch the What If episode of the zombie one in season 1?
I did, but it's been so long.
Yeah, I actually recently went back and watched it. Probably like half a year ago. I restarted What If from the beginning. I'm still watching through. Not a huge fan of the show, but I'm intrigued to see what they do as a miniseries. And the miniseries is TVMA, and it's 4 episodes long. I should have looked into it. I'm a terrible podcast host. If they were releasing this weekly, do you know if this is a weekly release or is this a all at once release? I know it's September 24th that this one's coming out.
Yeah, it comes out on September 24th.
Yeah.
And I know it's short. It's only around 4 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's definitely 4 episodes, 100%. I haven't kept up with the last 2 MCU releases. Actually, I haven't watched Eyes of Wakanda, and I haven't finished Ironheart yet. So I had a very busy summer with work, so I really do need to catch up on those. I plan on doing that very, very soon. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. I love like having it come out in the fall for like the Halloween time. I think this is like a perfect time to release it. Combining it, with like the holiday kind of gives it a slight like little boost in marketing. I'm fond of it being TVMA. I think that's the way to go for this. Yes. And it's just cool seeing these characters, and the animation has that what if feel to it, but it just feels more fluid, and it looks better. It looks a little more crisp, and that action sequence that they showcased in the trailer with Blade being like the Fist of Khonshu versus Ghost, I thought that was a phenomenal action sequence. I'm a little sad that they put it in the trailer because I would have loved to just watch it in the episode itself and have been surprised. But yeah, so I don't know. It's you're the Moon Knight, guys. This is interesting that Blade's the Fist of Khonshu. I'm not familiar with Marvel Comics as much as I am with DC, so I don't know if like Blade was ever like a Fist of Khonshu or anything. Do you have any knowledge on that? I know you have read a few Moon Knight comics.
No, all I know is that Mark Spector has always been Moon Knight, and then there's the Hunter of Moon Knight too, which is like, since Mark is his right fist, the Hunter of Moon Knight is like his left fist. Okay. He's not a bad guy, but he's much more brutal, and he doesn't have as much sympathy.
Interesting.
As Moon Knight.
Interesting. So well, let us. Oh, yep. Keep going. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say. So I'm not 100% sure if Blade in this universe is Moon Knight, or if he's just another fist possessed by him, or what they're gonna do with that.
Gotcha. Well, let us know what you guys think down below in the comments, whether or not you're excited for Marvel Zombies, if you thought the trailer looked great, if you thought it looked like crap. I don't know. Me personally, I think I could speak for Len here as well. I think we both thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm pretty excited for it. We'll probably cover it on the podcast when it comes out. But yeah, let us know your thoughts down below in the comments, and let's move on to our next topic. All right. Our next topic here tonight, this morning, we're filming this at night, but this should release in the morning, is something I'm very excited about. And that is that the DCU Clayface movie has begun filming. How excited are you for this movie?
I have been very excited since they announced that they were making a Clayface movie.
This is a set photo, by the way, guys. Anyways, keep going.
Just because I love when they try making these lower budget, more obscure movies.
Yeah.
Like, Clayface isn't a character you'd expect to be getting a movie this early on into the DCU.
100% not at all. No. I think it's very interesting that they're going. I added our logo up there, guys. I think it's very interesting that they're going with the Clayface movie. I have quite a few thoughts on this. My first thought is it's an interesting choice to the start of a universe, right? And I felt that way for quite some time with Creature Commandos, right? We're launching the DCU on an animated show that's dropping on HBO Max with extremely obscure characters. I'm not super mad at the decision, right? It's not a terrible decision to do that. The way that I look at it is HBO Max needed content, and that was content that they could receive. James Gunn, I believe, was already working on that show before he became the head of the DCU, or maybe it was one of the first things he did as the head of the DCU. So it's something that he wanted to get out there, and I think it does tie into the DCU quite nice and quite well. But it just feels like an interesting choice to start off your universe with an animated show. That's TVMA, that's on a streaming service. It just kind of it feels weird. And then, we get the announcement of Superman, of course, and that's our first movie in the DCU, and then it's like our third movie, I'm sorry, is Clayface. That's super odd. It's very odd. But on the plus side of it, I think you have to look at the way that they've approached this film, which is by having a thorough script by Mike Flanagan, one of the best kind of horror script writers out there. And James Gunn is very confident in this script, and I think it could tie well into the lore and the world building of Gotham City for the DCU. But my big thing here, this is the biggest thing I believe for this film, and 100% one of the reasons why I think they definitely greenlit this film has a $40 million production budget, if I am not mistaken. $40 million, right? And let's say they spend 40 to 50 on marketing, right? That's like, all right, let's up it to 60. That's a $100 million budget. This film's obviously, it's going to be rated R, but horror movies, it will do pretty well for a horror movie, right? I think so. Having Flanagan and James Watkins as the director, because you have two pretty decently sized names in the horror genre. On top of that, you have the DC label on it, so you're going to bring in DC fans, and maybe some DC fans that wouldn't normally go to see a horror film. So I think it really boosts up the box office, and I think it's going to be an easy hit. I think this movie will be more successful than Supergirl, but we can talk and dive into that later. I think Supergirl will gross more, but I think Clayface will end up having the bigger profit margin personally. What do you think about starting off the third movie, the third movie of your franchise being Clayface?
Like I said, I think it's a very weird choice, but I think it can work really well. Like you said, it's a lower budget movie, but it is a R-rated horror. Great writer, great director. Clayface is a very interesting character, and you could really try and do a lot with this movie. I know it's based on the Feet of Clay episodes for Batman the Animated Series, which I just watched. Yes, which is great. He's an actor who suffers an injury, and then he needs to use this like medicine in order to make himself look normal. But
I haven't seen those episodes in a while.
Oh yeah, so he basically realizes he can shape his face into anything. So he impersonates Bruce Wayne, and that's what gets Batman after him. And then eventually he gets in trouble with, I believe it's Daggett, who's the guy who makes the medicine for him.
Yes.
And his goons kind of make him overdose on it, which is what gives him that appearance of a giant goo monster.
Yeah, I think I know we were talking about this before the show started. We were trying to find the description to the film. I know that there's an article out there somewhere out in the vast open internet that was discussing the plot to the film, like a brief description of it. And I believe our main character here is an actor in this film as well. And I know it has something to do with the mob. I think like the mob's after him or something like that. I mean, it's gonna be interesting because we're gonna see this man just slowly descend into madness, and I think it's gonna be one of those stories that it's a tragic story, right? And I think with the creative team behind it, and from the set photos that we have here, I love the atmosphere that Gotham has. So it's great seeing the DCU Gotham have such a great atmosphere. I think Liverpool is a great location to set this film in, personally. But The other thing I wanted to talk about was the controversy of whether or not this is connected to Matt Reeves's Batman universe and how a lot of people are comparing the police logos. Let me ask you this. Do you want Robert Pattinson's Batman to be the Batman of the DCU, or would you rather have a separate Batman for this universe?
I personally would rather have a separate Batman.
Okay. And
I love
why is that?
Pattinson.
Yep.
See, I love Pattinson, but I
Yeah.
feel like I'd much rather him have his own trilogy, his own universe. A much more
Mhm.
I like the idea of him being a grounded Batman. In
100%.
I like the idea. The kind of the direction the DCU is going, where they're getting more lesser known or up and coming actors for a lot of their projects. I'd love to see
Yeah.
someone a bit less popular as the face of Batman in the DCU. Personally.
No, I'm in complete agreement with you. I really think that this universe needs a different actor, a different Batman. Uh, and it's just such a tough position that Warner Brothers and DC Studios are put in with having such a successful Batman franchise already that's standalone and then wanting to kick off, a DC universe, but you can't do that without Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't want to shoehorn Matt Reeves's take on Batman into the DCU. And I think even if we did move Robert Pattinson's Batman into the DCU, I don't think Robert Pattinson's the type of actor to want to play this Batman for such a prolonged period of time, right? Like, I know he signed on for a trilogy with Reeves, but say he fills out that trilogy with Matt Reeves, and then he's got to do a Justice League film or a World's Finest film with Superman, and he has to make this appearance and that appearance, and I don't think that's the way to go about things. So I personally am fine with having the Batman universe separate, but the last point I wanted to make, and then I want to hear your thoughts on this before you move on to the next topic, is I wanted to go back to the box office on this. We're bringing back to the box office. So, like we said, $40 budget. That would be crazy. A $40 million budget, and we were talking about, it's in the horror space. Horror movies tend to do pretty well. I think September's a great release for it as well. I think horror movies, like low budgets like that, they tend to perform pretty well, and I feel confident in this one performing pretty well. I think a way to garner interest in this film and a way to raise those box office numbers for this film without really dipping too much into the marketing budget would be announcing that Batman is going to appear at the end or something, or hinting that Batman is going to appear at the end. And I'm not saying have Batman in the film at all. I'm not saying like he needs to be a prominent thing. But even if you tease something like his silhouette is in the last scene, or he shows up at the last scene or something like that, and like this becomes the first appearance of Batman in the DCU in live action, I think that would really boost the box office here. And I think it would be a cool way to find out who our live action Batman is in the DCU. What do you think about that? I don't think it would happen in terms of us finding out who Batman is through Clayface, because there's no way that the news doesn't get out of who the actor is.
Yes. Something I saw, I'll tell you, that I thought was a really clever idea was not necessarily, like you said, having Batman in the movie, but having him almost as like a faceless antagonist to Clayface would be such a cool idea for this movie. To just
that would be.
Sprinkle them in here and there. Don't like overuse them or anything. Like you said, you don't need to reveal them. Just to have them in the background sometimes. Or have Clayface maybe worried about him throughout this movie.
I was just going to say that.
Clever.
I think if all of the entire crime scene is afraid of Batman, and we see newspaper articles, hear things on the news, I want this to feel like Gotham's lived in and Batman is a part of this. I want to hear these characters discussed. I want to see things in the background about Batman, but I don't want Batman to be a focal point at all in this film, because then I don't think this film should have been made at all. It should be a Clayface film, you know?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, with that discussion reaching its conclusion, let us know your thoughts down below in the comments on whether or not you want Robert Pattinson as the DCU Batman, or you want a different one. What your thoughts are on the DCU Clayface movie, whether or not it was a good choice for the third film in this franchise, and whether or not you're excited, and whether or not you think this will be a box office success. Okay, let's get into our next topic, which I'm quite excited about, and we are going to talk about the comic book movies from this past summer. Yes. All three of them. Okay. So, let me pull this up, and let's get this little clip rolling. Let me hear it. What was your best comic book movie of the summer?
So, my favorite of the summer was Superman. Personally.
Okay. Yep.
I love David Cornsweet, right?
Yep.
I love the aesthetic. I loved Green Lantern. All the castings I thought were perfect for Superman. Lex Luthor as Nicholas Hoult was amazing. I love the world building. I was a bit worried with how large of a cast they were going into the movie.
Yeah.
But I think they handled it, and they handled the screen time really well.
Okay. No,
James
100%.
Gunn taking his typical just giant cast of random people, kind of making the world feel like it already has its place. I mean, you have the
That's
Justice
what I
Gang,
love.
which is like a team that's been around clearly for at least a little bit now, you know?
Yes. Yes.
The intro crawl already explaining the timeline and how long metahumans have been a thing. Having Peacemaker, even as just a small cameo.
Yes. It felt very lived in.
Exactly.
Let me throw this out at you and out to the world, all right? My favorite comic book movie of the summer, of summer 2025, was Thunderbolts. I was floored by Thunderbolts, actually. And I want to say this. I think, like, if you look at it, I would have to go back and really look again. I think this might be the best summer that we've had for comic book movies in a really long time, right? So Thunderbolts kicked off the summer movie season, right? It was actually the first blockbuster of the season. I think it came out the first week of May. And then you had Superman, of course, and then you had Fantastic Four. And I think all of these comic book movies are genuinely really good comic book films. And I thoroughly enjoyed all three of them. Thunderbolts just felt more my speed, right? I kind of like those more grounded films. I like the more... I know it's hard to say that when you have like a character like Sentry, but I like seeing characters that aren't just super like overpowered. And I don't mean that in a way of like I hate Superman or anything, because I thoroughly enjoy Superman. He's one of my favorite DC characters. But I'm a huge fan of like hand-to-hand combat sequences, stuff like that. And Thunderbolts kind of brought back that old MCU feel and flavor that I feel has been missing for quite some time. It felt very Phase 2, Phase 3-esque. It has one of my favorite scores of any comic book film, and I think all three scores from all of these movies were fantastic. But I think, I'm going to say it's going to be crazy. Thunderbolts is the first time in a long time that I felt excited for the future of the MCU. I will always go opening night to an MCU movie, always, and I'm always looking forward to the next release, just because at heart I'm a huge comic book movie fan. I'm a huge comic book fan. But Thunderbolts had me genuinely excited, like, oh snap, Avengers Doomsday. I am super pumped for it. I'm super pumped to see how this credit scene ties into it. The new Avengers versus the Avengers. The Fantastic Four traveling, or is it the Fantastic Four traveling to the main universe? it it just worked on so many different levels for me. What were your thoughts on Thunderbolts?
I enjoyed Thunderbolts a lot. You know me, I'm a big John Walker fan ever
Okay.
since
Yep.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
I like Yelena. A bit of a hot take. I think I like her a lot more than I ever liked Black Widow.
Wow.
Personally,
Hot
I
take. No, I
just
like Elena. I like Elena.
yeah,
Great
like
character.
not that I don't like Black Widow.
Yeah.
I always felt kind of bored with her.
Okay.
Yelena, I feel like gives a bit more of that. I don't know, just the her and her relationships, especially with her dad. I think that adds a lot to the movie and to the cast. I do agree with you that it gave me a lot of hope for the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
It got me I mean, like you said, having characters that aren't as powerful, it makes you wonder like who's going to be the villain and how are they going to handle this? How are they going to get out of this situation with more than just overpowering their way through everything?
And I think like having Sentry as a villain is a great example of that because of how powerful that of a character he is, and I talked superficially about Thunderbolts, but at its core, it's just got such a great story and message about mental health, and I think that really resonates with me, and I really like that. It felt fresh to me.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it felt reminiscent of earlier MCU days. It was like a perfect balance. But Superman, I thoroughly enjoyed as well. Like Superman was actually the comic book movie I was looking forward to the most, and it's the one that I saw the most actually. I saw that one 3 times in theaters. The Fantastic Four I saw twice, and Thunderbolts I saw twice. But I don't know if it's just the expectations I had for it or what. Again, I came out liking it. I really did. Um, and I'm gonna get more into it in an upcoming segment. But it didn't feel as complete and as tight of a movie that Thunderbolts felt for me. And I feel that the same way about the Fantastic Four. I really loved the Fantastic Four. I thought that was a good movie. Not a good movie. I think it was a great MCU movie, and I love the aesthetic and the atmosphere and the feel of it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But you could tell that there were some parts of it missing, because it did face some cuts. I don't think it impedes on the story too much. I still think it tells a complete story. But I've
Mm-hmm.
seen people complain about feeling like they wanted to have more out of that film, and
Yes.
I didn't really feel that way completely, but I do see that complaint. What do you think? Do you think it's
Yeah,
boring? Do you think it's a boring movie?
I think that I wouldn't say it's necessarily boring. I would say it definitely has a lot less action
Yeah.
than you're used to for an MCU movie.
Yeah.
Um, I know they had to fit, well, they had to be under 2 hours, right? Is what Marvel wanted
Yeah.
them to be at.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours and under, something like that.
Yeah, and I think they cut out a storyline with the Thing, right? They cut
Yeah,
out a large portion.
it was his like the love story aspect with Natasha Lyonne's actress. I forgot the name of her character in the film.
Yeah, it makes his storyline almost feel a little out of place, especially when he goes back to the church
Yes.
and meets with his
Yes.
love interest. You almost feel like something is missing there.
Yes. That's the only point in the film that really jumps out to me that feels that way.
And but otherwise, I think they do really great building the chemistry or like showing the chemistry between the team. I think Joseph Quinn did amazing as the Human Torch.
Yeah.
He shocked me, I think, honestly. I was a little
Yeah.
worried when he got casted, but
Yeah.
after Warfare and then I think he just handles that quippy um
Character. Or
yes,
character, I guess.
quippy
Character, archetype of a character, yeah.
yeah, with him and the Thing. And I love the aesthetic, man. I love the like 40s, 50s style futuristic city.
Yeah.
I I think Galactus looked amazing the way they designed him. I enjoyed the montage in the beginning explaining their backstory, but in a quick way where it's not, because a lot of people, a big thing with movies, with these superhero movies now, is the backstories, because you see so many of them so much. Do you want to add the backstory, or do you kind of want to skip it? Like with Superman, they completely glossed over it. Everyone knows his origin by now. Fantastic Four, they gave a little 5-minute monologue, and I think that was perfect as well.
Yeah, no, I think it worked very well. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments, though, guys. What is the best comic book movie of the summer, of 2025's summer? Was it Thunderbolts? Was it Fantastic Four First Steps? Or was it Superman? All right, let's head into our next topic of the night, which is an interesting one, I think. Hold on, let's take this down. Let's put this up. And let's talk about caught stealing. Right? So, as you can see, if you're 35 minutes into this podcast right now, I would love for you to comment, I love blue pens. I don't know. There's blue pens on my desk in front of me. It's something I like to do when I make these types of this type of content. But I wanted to talk about caught stealing. Before that, I never really formally introduced this podcast. This is a little late to do it, but if you are listening, obviously we cover comic book films and TV shows, but we want to cover just cinema in general, so we are going to be covering movies as well. But we'll see how this podcast pans out, and we'll see, you know, what kind of gets the most engagement, and kind of pivot to see what most people want to listen to, watch, and hear. With that being said, I would like to get into the caught stealing review. You saw this movie last night. I saw it last Friday or Thursday, so I want to hear your thoughts first in a non-spoiler manner. We will do a spoiler review of it directly after we talk about it in a non-spoiler manner. So let me hear your thoughts on it so I can get my memory jogged.
Okay, so first thing, it's not as much of a comedy as I thought it was going to be. There is jokes in there, and there are definitely some funny moments, but I feel like between each joke, you have a long space of time where it makes me not really think this is as much of a comedy as it is just like a drama thriller movie. I did really like Bad Bunny, actually. I really enjoyed his performance in the film.
Everything he's in is good, I feel like. His performances are always fun.
Yeah, I'm always shocked by how good he comes out. And let's see, I thought some parts of this movie were a little bit rushed almost. Especially towards the beginning. They throw a lot at you.
They do.
And a lot happens really quick where you have to keep up. Like the camera's cutting a lot in this movie. And
you know, keep going. Yeah.
Just certain scenes and certain things, you almost don't have enough time to process what's happening before a next bit of information is getting thrown at you.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of moving parts and a lot of information going on, to the point where almost, I don't think it is, but it almost becomes hard to follow in its plot. It's definitely a very layered plot, and it does move fast, but I do think it starts to really slow down, especially in that middle part of the film itself, right? I know it's billed as like a crime comedy, and you were saying that the jokes feel, you know, pretty far apart from each other. I did get that feel. You know, it does feel very dark and gritty and tense at times, and then you kind of get some comedic relief thrown out throughout the film. But I think a lot of the humor does work really well. I think Austin Butler, I think he gives I don't want to say a great performance. For some reason, I wasn't entirely captivated by his performance as much as I thought I would be for this film. I think he gives a good performance here, but I wasn't entirely captivated by his performance. I think Zoe Kravitz was great. Vincent D'Onofrio and Liev Schreiber, I think, was great. By the way, it's very interesting seeing uh, both of those guys here, and they both were Kingpin. Because
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken, Liev Schreiber voices Kingpin in Into the Spider-Verse, and then obviously Vincent D'Onofrio portrays Kingpin in the MCU. So that's cool. I think the action sequences that we get are actually pretty well done, and this isn't really an action film. This is much more of a crime thriller, dark comedy, if anything. And I didn't have high expectations going into this film. I've actually never watched a Darren Aronofsky film in my life. I know The Whale. Did the Whale didn't win Best Picture? I think Brendan Fraser won Best Actor though. And why do I feel like it won another award? Like Best Director or something. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't watched any Aronofsky films. This is actually my first, and I've read that this is the film that feels the most not like Darren Aronofsky. Now I'm messing up his name. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a fun time. I think it's an enjoyable movie. I think it maybe tends to run just a smidge too long. You were saying that it felt too fast, though, so I guess we defer in
towards
that
the
department.
end, it definitely started.
Yeah, to run
I
its
think
course a
towards the
bit.
end, it started slowing down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once it got to the end, it definitely became. Once they kind of fleshed everything out, really.
What do you give this out of 10? This film.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
I would probably give this movie a 6 out of 10.
Wow.
6 out of 10.
I'm gonna go a 7.8 out of 10.
Okay.
And on my scale, a 7's a good movie, and 8's a very good movie. So it's very close to being a very good movie, but I think it's a good movie, and I'm confident in calling this movie a good movie. But let's hop into some spoilers, right? Let's get a little quick spoiler discussion on the movie real quick. Did you expect Zoe Kravitz to die so fast? You there, Len?
That's something I wanted to bring up. Them killing off these characters. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I can hear you. Yeah.
I was talking.
No, you're fine.
I did not. So when Bad Bunny told her that, or when Bad Bunny told Hank to watch out for his girl, and he goes to the apartment, there was no part of me expecting her to be dead. I was like jaw dropped when it panned over to her lifeless body.
I was completely stunned that that's
with a lot of
the decision that they went with. I mean, very interesting.
She was
choice.
such a great character.
Yeah, I think it's a great character. Just what a
could have done more.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think they could have done a lot more with her character. Just what a crappy life for Austin Butler's character, man. Involved in like so much death and just so much guilt. And like ruining his baseball career, killing, basically being the reason why 2 people were dead. Just such a sad, heavy feeling that I felt watching like this guy's life just spiral. I don't know. I thought that the scene where he hits like the short bald Russian guy, where he hits him like the little 1-2 combo, that was pretty fun and sick.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And I think everything with Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio are great. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. I can't tell because like I think like your audio's slightly delayed, so then I'm like, okay, there's a silence here, so let me fill the silence, and then I'm like, oh, never mind. I keep cutting off my co-host Len. My apologies. I sound terribly selfish right now and conceited. Continue on.
No, you're good. I definitely think it's a little delayed as well. I think I noticed that for this segment. No, you know me. I love movies where they kill off the main characters, and this movie had a lot of that, or at least larger characters. They did a lot of that, like killing off Ivana or Yvonne.
Yeah.
Early into the movie. Then killing off Colorado, that was a shock to me too.
Yes, that was big. I didn't expect that. I did not expect that at all.
What they did with the whole, you get convinced almost that Ronan is the one who killed Yvonne, and then at the end it was just genius writing with him using the lighter to escape.
That was
the zip
amazing
ties
sequence.
And then later in the movie, it's not there, so he has to pull out the lighter that he took from Yvonne.
Yep.
And that's how, that was just brilliant.
Great sequence. That, I'll tell you this much. You ready? All right, so once we hit the end, once we hit that sequence, I was at like a 7, maybe high 6. And then when that scene transpired, I was like, okay, I'm confident in putting this film a little bit higher in my score. Would you recommend this movie? As we close off this segment, would you recommend this movie? Is this a movie worth going to see in theaters, or would you hold off and wait for streaming?
I think I'd recommend watching this movie. Like I said, I have it at a 6 out of 10. I wasn't going to see this movie.
Solid.
But then people talked it up, and you go into theaters, and it's an enjoyable movie, 100%. It's got some great moments, some great scenes. When they do use the comedy, it hits. So I would 100% recommend seeing this movie.
All right, there you have it. Let us know your thoughts on Caught Stealing. We're in the spoiler portion now, so I'm assuming you've already watched or you just don't care about the spoilers. Let me know if you guys agree with our scores, and let's move on to our next segment here. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is another movie that just released last weekend, and that film, let me get it set up for us. Give me a moment. Facing slight technical difficulties right now, getting this this scene up. There we go. There it is. I want to discuss The Roses. All right. So I know, Len, I know you haven't seen this film. I bet not a lot of people have seen this film, but I wanted to, I wanted to talk about cinema. I wanted to talk about the films that have released. And this is a movie I saw as a double feature with Caught Stealing. I saw The Roses first, and then I saw Caught Stealing, I believe last Thursday or Friday. No, I think it was Thursday. I think Thursday. And The Roses, Len, you've talked about this. It's a trailer that I feel like is constantly played in theaters.
Speak No Evil, just every movie.
Yeah,
they have.
And hey, Speak No Evil. That's James Watkins, who's directing Clayface. Anyways, I was thoroughly surprised by The Roses. I think that it's one of the funniest movies of the year. I think it has 2 of the greatest performances of the year with Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman. And, I've seen that this movie hasn't gotten as much positive reviews as I thought it would. And I think it's due to people thinking that the trailer was going to be... The scenes that were depicted in the trailer would be the entire movie, but the trailer... The sequences that are shown in the trailer are really only in the back half, the back 30 minutes of this movie. And I know this is a remake. What is it? Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer. I know Danny DeVito's in there. I probably butchered that cast. I know Danny DeVito's definitely in it, and I think that's Andy Samberg's character in this remake. But I think it's got some sharp, witty writing in terms of the humor. And I think that the chemistry between Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman is just absolutely phenomenal. And I love how, it's a comedy. It has comedic aspects to it, but it really kind of opens up as this, slice of life movie with these little, I guess, inconveniences that happen in their life, right? So it's got, this dramedy feel to it. And then these inconveniences and these life decisions and these things that are happening in this couple's life, they just keep snowballing. And it keeps snowballing and snowballing until it becomes massive problems within their marriage. And you kind of see this marriage devolve. And I think it's an interesting movie in that aspect, right? It almost is like you forget that this film is a comedy. Like, the humor's still there. It's still kind of hitting you with these, like, quick, snappy lines and quips. And I think it's well-written humor. But you start to feel like, okay, I'm getting very involved with these characters, right? But then it feels like in the last 30 minutes it realizes this is a remake of the original Roses film, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, again, I haven't seen it, The War of the Roses, yes, leans more comedic. And it kind of seems like, okay, this is supposed to be a comedy, and it just kind of goes all out in the third act and really becomes insanely absurd. And it kind of starts losing a little bit of credibility for me. And there's a lot of, like, things that are interesting and weird in terms of the humor, and, like, it is a little absurd and out there throughout the entirety of the movie in the first and second act. But then I feel like it's just, like, these really out there comedic concepts that just happen one after another in the third act. Which I was vibing with more of the dramedy aspect of it, to be honest with you, rather than the like absurd war between this couple that's going through a divorce. So that's kind of my quick non-spoiler thoughts, and then getting into the spoiler thoughts. Well, Len hasn't seen this, but Len's gonna have to sit here through the spoilers. I just thought it was insanely wacky at the end how, like, and this is going to be, like, so funny for you, like, how she's chasing him around with a gun and, like, firing a gun at him.
I was going to bring up, I felt like that had to have been one of the more absurd things you were talking about from the trailer.
Yeah, and, like, I feel like the movie held a decent tone where, like, it didn't feel super wacky, right? There was definitely wacky sequences, but once we start getting into some of these things that they're doing to each other, like, there's a sequence where, like, her character's allergic to raspberries, and he sits her down at the dinner table and wants her to sign, like, the divorce papers, and he just wants the house. He's gonna let her, like, take everything else. He just wants the house, and he, like, brings her, like, this slice of cake home and, like, acts all nice. And the cake's laced with raspberries, and he won't, like, hit her. He won't hit her with the EpiPen until she signs, like, the divorce papers. And I'm like, wow, like, and, like, I think it plays it off pretty well in terms of, like, he's like, I wouldn't actually let you die, like, and, like, you could, and these characters still love each other at the end of the day, like, that's how the movie ends, right? Which I'm gonna get to in a second. But I was like, wow, like, this guy's trying to kill her. Like, that's insane. Like, what if something went wrong? Like that's wild. And, like, the whole chasing around a gun and then throwing knives at each other. And then the movie ends, like, where they realize, I guess, they're kind of both crazy and they need to, you know, work on each other and they need to communicate more. And the house ends up blowing up because, like, they damaged, like, the stove and then turned on the fireplace, and, like, that's how the movie ends. And it just, I know that's how the original ends too, but, like, I don't know, it just felt like it hit a third act collapse for me personally. I still really enjoyed it though. Like, I still think it's a really fun movie, and I think it's also just a beautifully looking film. Like, I can't say it's got, like, great cinematography, but, like, the set pieces are really nice. I love the settings of the film, like the coastal towns, the house that they're in. Everything's just so beautiful and suave. So, I know you haven't seen it, but based off of what I've just said, what are your quick thoughts on it before we move into our final two topics of the episode?
So this movie had a very, you would say, more serious tone in the beginning, or the first majority of the movie. Not necessarily serious.
I would say it's much more of a dramedy in the beginning. much more of a dramedy. There's definitely comedic sequences, and there's definitely some like out there comedic sequences that are like wacky and zany, but it still kind of reels itself back in at times to where like it's not too out there. I think it's balanced very well.
Okay, because I get what you're saying with some of the absurd endings, because sometimes if a movie feels one way and then the ending almost feels like it's not the same movie anymore. It feels like it's going in a whole different direction. It can definitely taint the movie a little bit, 100%.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed I don't like in movies, it's like something I noticed with Django, which I love Django. But when a movie, it feels like the movie plays almost to where it could be a realistic movie, and then all of a sudden stuff hits the fan.
Yeah, that's a great way to like put my thoughts, like condensed into one sentence.
Like it makes me kind of get sucked out of the movie almost. Like I'm like, this just isn't what I have been enjoying. Not that I won't enjoy it, it just hasn't been what I was enjoying for the past hour and a half.
Yeah. That was my exact feeling. It's like I was really enjoying it, and then it kind of just took too much of a wacky turn for me to really give this movie a super high score. But I'm giving it in the 7 ranges. I'd give it like a 7.2.
Okay.
Probably maybe even a 7.4. I think I would go 7.4 out of 10 to be honest with you on this film. I think it's a lot more rewatchable than Caught Stealing as well.
Yeah, comedy, it feels like it's going to be a lot more. Yeah. Another thing I'm interested in, though, is you said you really enjoyed Cumberbatch and Coleman.
Great performances. I genuinely, I know they won't get any Oscar noms for this, but like that's how fond of the performances I am from both of the respective stars of the film.
Yeah, and I mean, they're both great actors, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and again, like, it's the balancing of being able to have those dramatic scenes with these characters and then also having those comedic scenes. Like that's not an easy thing to do. Like they both end up being comedic relief at times, but there's a lot of vulnerable emotional scenes for these actors as well. So I really genuinely think like this would be they're definitely in my like probably top 5 performances, like top 5 actor performance and top 5 actress performance of the year so far, I would say.
Okay. I'll definitely.
That's how fond I am of it.
Yeah. See, I probably won't see this movie in theaters, but you definitely piqued my interest to watch it once it hits streaming somewhere. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. With that said, guys, let us know your thoughts down below on The Roses, what you guys thought of the film. But let's hop right into our next topic, which I'm excited to do. Let's do the 5 best movies of the summer 2025, according to Kel, me, the nerd. Let's hop into it. And what time is it? It is ranking time. So let's go. We need a ranking time like sound, something that we could pop in like maybe What about this? Ranking time, where Kel and Len rank movies. Pretty sick, huh? All right.
That is so hot.
All right, let's do it. Let me give you guys my top 5. Let me start off with my 5th film, and that is How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon is my number 5 movie of the summer. I think, like, this is one of my favorite IMAX experiences I think I've ever had. I mean, we both saw this together. We sat next to each other, and we watched this in IMAX together. And when the Night Furies came on, when the Night Fury came flying over our heads, and, you know, getting to hear that in a theater, I think was just phenomenal. Such a phenomenal sound design. I think this has some incredible sound, especially watching it in IMAX. You know, Mason Thames, though, like, I don't know, just something about it. I'm critiquing performances today. I think Mason Thames just for some reason left a little bit for me to be desired out of this performance. I don't think he was bad at all. I don't think that he was like the wrong fit or anything. It's just it's not as great of a performance that I would have thought it would have been. But in terms of like technical aspects, again, I think it's just such a beautifully shot film, beautifully looking film, great cinematography, great action sequences, an awesome score. Obviously, it's the same score as the original. I've only seen the original one. I haven't seen the second or the third one, and I did it off of the recommendation of Len here. But for me, it's my number 5. I think it's the epitome of a blockbuster film, and I think it's an awesome time in theaters. And I think it's such a rewatchable film. I think it's a great film for families, and I think it's got great action, great humor, and a great story there at its core between a father and a son. But it is a rehash of just the first film, and it's pretty much a direct adaptation. But that would be my number 5. So let's bring it in to my number 4 film of the year, or film of the summer, I'm sorry. And that would be The Materialists, all right? So, I don't know. I think this movie has... I know you're high on it, and I know our friend Luca is high on it as well.
Oh,
and
Lou.
Yeah, Lou. And I loved this film. And again, I love this film for a plethora of reasons. And I love this film because I think it's got, again, great cinematography. I think it's a gorgeous looking film, right? Especially like the barn sequence at the end with the lights. Like, it's just such a it's a well shot film. And Celine Song, that's the director, right? Celine Song, I believe, who did Past Lives. Just like, it's a well crafted film, right? It felt like that there was a vision here that Song had and wanted this film to kind of look and feel like, and I think that I really vibed with that feeling and the performances, right? And I've never been the biggest Pedro Pascal guy, right? Like, I've always been fond of him, but after watching The Materialist, Pedro Pascal has now become one of my favorite actors, and it was even more so solidified in Fantastic Four: First Steps. I love the love triangle. It's right up my alley. I love how it leans, again, this is more of a dramedy. A lot of people expected a rom-com, but it leans into that more dramatic aspect. And I think there's some great pieces of dialogue, and I know a lot of people don't like the choice at the end, but to me, I like the choice. Call me a hopeless romantic, whatever you want. I think that this was a well-written movie, a well-acted movie, and a well-shot movie, and I genuinely love everything about this movie. I think it'll end up still being in like one of my favorite movies just in general of the entire year. I honestly want to move it up to number 3 now, to be honest with you. I think it might be my number 3 of the summer. With that being said, let's go to my number 3. At heart, I am a comic book movie fan. I am a comic book nerd. I would probably go Fantastic Four: First Steps here. Here's the thing. I think that Superman and Fantastic Four flip-flop for me. And I know that's weird. Let me talk about what I like about Fantastic Four: First Steps. I love the atmosphere. Again, it's another movie that just looks visually appealing. I love the set design. I love all of it. I love the performances here. I absolutely love the score. Len knows that. I had a little kick with that score for like a month straight. I think the Fantastic Four theme is absolutely fantastic. No pun intended, or maybe a little bit intended there. But I think that it has one of my favorite sequences in the post-Endgame era of any Marvel film. I think the whole black hole sequence with Shia LaBeouf chasing the spaceship and the birth scene with the black hole like in the background. Again, it's just such a well-shot sequence. It's well acted. It's emotional. There was you had the tension of the action sequence just before it, and then you can't even let off of that tension because it's like, oh no, we're giving birth, and oh no, we need to return home, and it's like all these things happening at once. And I really loved it. I think it's one of my favorite sequences in the post Endgame era. I think it's an awesome sequence, but I don't know. I go back and forth because I think, and this might sound weird. I think Fantastic Four is a more complete movie than Superman, which is my number 2. But I think the highs in Superman are much higher. I think there's a lot. I think the lows are lower than, say, like a Fantastic Four. It feels more consistent throughout in terms of its quality. I just don't mesh and vibe as much as I wanted to with the first act of the Superman film. But from Act 2 on, I really, really love this movie. And I think it's more rewatchable than Fantastic Four or, say, like a Thunderbolts, in my opinion. Again, the score is absolutely fantastic. I love how the world feels lived in here. But, you know, I think I would have enjoyed a little less time with the Justice Gang and a little more time with the Daily Planet Gang. Obviously this is a solo Superman film, and I'm not saying that this isn't a solo Superman film, and I'm not saying that there's too many characters to juggle. I think it worked well, but I think if you flip-flopped how involved the Justice Gang is and then how involved the Daily Planet Gang is, I think having the Daily Planet Gang involved more would have felt more like a Superman film, if that makes sense, right? Because those are his supporting characters, but it felt like more that Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific were the supporting characters featured in this film. And I think if you flip-flopped it, I think you could have still had the world building of the Justice Gang being in there and having them help out Superman and everything, but, you know, have some of that scenery chewed up by the people at the Daily Planet a little bit more. That is kind of my thought process there. But my number 1 is Thunderbolts. I've already discussed it. Let me change that banner out, actually. Oops. I've already said why. I've talked about it quite extensively. I just think it's a great. I love the action sequences. I love the score. I'll say this. This is another scene post Endgame era that I think is one of the best MCU sequences. I think the sequence with Sentry, the fight sequence where he's just using all of his powers and the whole Thunderbolts crew is trying to take him down in like the I can't say the penthouse, but the top floor of the Avengers Tower. One of my favorite action sequences of the post-Endgame era. Absolutely incredible sequence. I love these characters. I love how these characters are very flawed. Right? You know, all of our heroes in the MCU are flawed, right? Even someone like Captain America, who's like the golden boy of the MCU and, you know, like the Boy Scout. All the MCU characters are flawed, but they're not as flawed as these Thunderbolts characters. And I think it's a great progression to watch on screen with these characters. But that is my top 5 movies of the summer. My honorable mention would go to Weapons, and I guess I could throw F1 out there as well. F1 just felt a little too cliched. I know Weapons is getting a lot of love. I thoroughly enjoyed Weapons. It's in my top 10 films of the year. And I think that for me, it just felt a little tonally imbalanced. And I know that's kind of Zach Krager's thing to do, is incorporate that comedy. But those are my top 5 best movies of the summer. Let's hear your top 5, Len. Give me 1 second to pull it up. And here we go. Let's hear number 5.
Okay. My number 5 of the summer is Kill. Oh,
there we go.
All right, is Kill Me Again. This is a very low budget indie film. I did not even realize how not mainstream this movie was until after I watched it, and I tried seeing other people's thoughts on the movie, and there is like nothing out there.
So you be the voice.
Yes. Okay. Brendan Farr killed it. Okay. Time loop movies, Groundhog Day is one of my favorite movies of all time. And the tough thing with time loop movies is you have to be different, I feel like. You have to have something that really makes yourself unique. And a movie where you're stuck in a time loop and it follows the serial killer, I thought was a very interesting plot line.
Yeah.
And I think they handled it really well. I mean, you have a serial killer stuck in a time loop, you're going to see some crazy kills and some really interesting moments and character development. And the way, after watching this movie, I don't know if I should give spoilers or not, but the twist at the end was just, it took this movie to a new level. Well, I'll just say things they sprinkled in throughout the movie, like people he has conversations with and things that come up after watching the movie, looking back and seeing how those all kind of hint at the ending of the movie and how they handle what he needs to do to kind of try and escape this time loop, because that's really the plot of any time loop movie. You try to figure out how to get out.
Yeah.
It's done really well. Keith Jardine, he directs and acts in this movie, former UFC fighter. Shout out Jay.
Oh, wow.
But I really love this movie. I thought
okay. I might have to check
and
this one out.
One more small thing, I really enjoyed the score as well, which I was surprised by.
Really?
Yes.
I'm
which
intrigued,
it's not like a crazy Oscar-worthy thing, but I really thought it fit the tone of the movie, and
awesome.
Yes.
All right, let's bring up your number 4.
Number 4, How to Train Your Dragon live action.
Yeah.
So I see what you were saying about Mason Thames not being, not having a knockout performance, but I think he really does look the part.
Yeah.
I think a big thing with these live action remakes too is how they make the creatures look, because when you're animating them, they can kind of fit whatever art style you want, but when you throw them into a world with real actors, they have to fit. And I think Toothless and the other dragons look perfect. Gerard Butler, he already voiced in the original movie.
Yep.
So, how can that go wrong? I mean, him as Stoic, I was a little nervous because he's a lot smaller, but they really made him. Honestly, the whole aesthetic of this movie, the costumes were amazing.
Yes. So awesome.
The score, they're copying most of the first movie. They add a little bit of differentiation and new songs. It was good. And How to Train Your Dragon, the original, is one of my favorite movies all time. And they kind of basically just rehashed it like line for line almost in this movie.
Yeah.
So I was going to love it no matter what.
Yeah. Understandable.
But that is why How to Train Your Dragon is my number 4 this summer.
Quick little question on this. Do you think this is best live action remake of any film? I mean, it's got to be up there, right?
It's got to be up there. I mean, what else? I feel like
I don't know. I feel like live action
it has to
get crapped on. I think this is like a movie that everyone like loved. So, all right, let's pop.
I think this would have to be
your number 3 movie
Materialists
of the year.
All right, I love this movie. It's my number 3. There is one thing we disagree on though that I noticed when you were explaining this movie.
What's that?
Obviously, I have this movie really high because I enjoyed it and I liked it. Pedro Pascal, Chris Evans, amazing. I did not like Dakota
Johnson.
She was Dakota Johnson. Sorry, I'm thinking hockey player. My bad. Dakota Johnson was probably my least favorite part of this entire movie.
Wow.
Just from the beginning, like the first scene where she's just on her phone, I didn't like her. Like something about her voice just made it feel like she was not acting as on par with later in the movie Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans. which I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with.
I mean,
but
no, I mean a lot of people aren't super fond of her as an actress, so I don't think that you'll catch an extreme amount of backlash. I think the performances from Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans are stronger. I do think that, but I don't think that her performance was terrible. I think that it worked for the film 100%.
And then another thing, like you said, the ending gets a lot of backlash in this movie. A lot of people think she should have stayed with Pedro Pascal's character rather than Chris Evans.
Yes.
I think that she made the right choice. I think that the whole point of this movie was almost to prove that she can support herself, and she doesn't need that materialistic lifestyle that Pedro Pascal's character was trying to give to her. She clearly, as messed up as the relationship was, always loved Chris Evans. And I think the end of the movie, them going to the wedding, just really highlights who they are for one another.
Great sequence.
Yeah, like you said, it looks amazing, and just the conversations they have and the indecisiveness, it was so great. And Chris Evans too, in any sort of comedy drama movie, he always nails it. He's a great comedic
such
actor.
A great performance. Yeah, and I think too it shows the growth that Chris Evans' character has had too, right? It's not like she's going back to him and he's just being the same. Well, I don't really want to call him a bum, but like he's making the necessary changes to move, onwards in life. But
yes.
Okay. Are you ready for your number 2?
I am ready for my number 2.
All right.
Number 2.
Let's hit it.
Fantastic Four: First Steps.
Okay. What is this little known movie?
This is a very indie underground. None of the actors really have any major roles.
Yeah, we're gonna get like 50 comments.
Film.
You Marvel shills, you blockbuster shills.
It's just, I get it, because Marvel, it's true. People might think it's a bit basic, but there's a couple reasons I really love this movie. First of all, like I talked about already, Joseph Quinn I think was great as Johnny Storm. I think him and the Thing with Ebon Moss-Bachrach really worked really well. I like the family dynamic. I liked, like I said, the montage going in. The aesthetic is amazing. Like I said, the 40s, 50s, futuristic. The soundtrack, it fit the theme perfectly. Galactus's design. And then even just simple things like the costumes and the way that the world around them interacts with them and sees them as these amazing heroes who can do anything. Like these people can save them. It just it shows how long they've been around and how much of a name they have and how recognized they are. They're like idols. And then another thing is the ending of this movie, which, can I talk about the ending? Has this movie been out long enough?
Of course you can. I think it's been out for more than enough time.
Yeah. So the ending, like especially the end credit scene with Doctor Doom, a big thing I was worried about in Thunderbolts was how they showed a Fantastic Four ship entering the MCU, what is Earth 616. Because it kind of felt like it gave them a limited number of ways to go with this movie and how it would end. It had me on the train of thinking that maybe Galactus destroys their world and they have to escape. But now it kind of gives you that idea that they maybe are chasing Doctor Doom into this other universe.
Yeah. I've heard another, kind of a theory that it could be Doctor Doom and Baby Franklin on that ship, and that, he kidnapped him and took him to the main MCU universe.
Yeah, they played that very well with the ending, and Like you said, it was a shorter movie. They definitely, with The Thing, you could see they cut down on that time. But this movie just feels like it just makes you happy. Like even The Thing just walking down the street and everyone knows him because he grew up there. And he's just walking through. No one's swarming him. Like, you know he's been around for a while. It's just... Love this movie.
I think there's a movie that made you happier and makes you feel even more hopeful after watching that, and I think that's your number one movie.
Yes.
Pretty good segue there, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I love how you handled. I was trying to think of a way to do it, but you nailed it. Superman. Oh my god. This movie does make me feel so. I feel like every time his theme plays, he is doing something that just makes you have faith in the world.
Yes.
I mean, I love how with this movie it has such just the colors of it. It's so colorful and bright.
Yes.
The villains, David Crone Sweat, the opening crawl, the score. I agree with what you're saying with they don't show a lot of the Daily Planet. In this movie, The Crew, I really enjoyed watching with the Daily Planet Wendell Pierce.
Yes, great performance.
He was great. I do wish we got a little more of him, but like I said, it's nice with the Justice Gang. Guy Gardner, Fillion, he killed it.
Yeah,
the bowl cut was a perfect choice. That douchebag.
Yes.
Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult. But then my favorite character, Mr. Terrific, the scene where he's just messing up the vultures and that song is playing.
Yeah. I think Lex Luthor Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor is one of the best performances of any like comic book movie villain and just any villain in cinema history. And I know it's early to say that, but I feel that strongly about his performance. And I think it was just absolutely fantastic. Or actually, I think it was absolutely super. Apologies.
And I know a lot of people are calling this movie woke too because of the whole Baravia thing, but say that again. But I know a lot of people are calling this whole thing woke with the whole Baravia thing.
That was such a delayed reaction. That was such a delayed reaction. The lag. That's funny, man. That had to be a good 20 seconds.
Good clip there.
Can somebody clip that, chat? Can you clip that? No.
But a lot of people call it woke with the whole Baravia thing, but I think it really fits Superman's character. Like, he really, especially with his conversation with Lois, how passionate he gets when she's saying like the logistics of him stopping the invasion, and he just keeps, screaming like people are gonna die if this happened. Like, he really is that figure that you want Superman to be. He wants to save people, and he doesn't care.
No,
they handled it so perfectly.
All right.
And
that is both of ours top 5 best movies of the summer. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments and why you disagree with this, because there's no way you guys are going to have the exact same list as us. I know there's going to be a lot of different selections in there, and I'm curious to see your thoughts on it. So let us know your thoughts down below in the comments, and let's move on to our last and final topic. Are you ready for this one? Len, are you excited for this one? Let's get into it. Hold on. Let's get into it. Let me take that down. Let me take this down. And you know what we're going to do? It's ranking time.
Yeah.
It's ranking time. Let's get down to it.
Rank.
All right. Let's pull it up. What are we ranking? Our top 5 most anticipated movies for the rest of 2025. For me, the nerd Kel. And of course, we will hear Len's list as well. I think this is interesting. My number 5 choice, and I don't know if this is even something that's kind of in the know. Oh, I forgot to get a clip of it, and I forgot. Oh no, I did. I remembered. Wow, that's how unknown it is. Anyways, my number 5 most anticipated movie for the rest of 2025 is Roofman, starring Channing Tatum. We talked about him earlier as Gambit in this podcast episode, and honestly, Channing Tatum has become one of my favorite actors in cinema, right? And I think Roofman is just right up my alley. It's just such a unique little oddball kind of movie based off of a true story of this convict who escapes prison or jail. Well, prison. And he camps out in a Toys R Us after he escapes, and it kind of shows him living in literally the roofs of the Toys R Us, and it's right up my alley. I think it's gonna be a fun little movie, and I forgot the release date for it. This is terrible. We should have had the release dates for all these movies ready to go to discuss this. No. But my number 5 is Roofman. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be a fun movie, and that brings us to our number 4 movie, which is Avatar: Fire and Ash. Okay. I can't say that I'm the biggest fan of this franchise, but it's always just such a spectacle and such a fun movie to watch, right? Way of Water was awesome. Such an awesome movie. Very, very fun watch. And I'm curious to see how we can up the ante with the visuals. And I mean, just looking at the trailer right now, it's just gorgeous, right? It's something I'm very excited for, and I think it's going to be a really fun blockbuster, and it's going to easily be the highest grossing film of the year, 100%. But I really don't have much else to say about it, right? My number 3. This might be an interesting one. I don't know if this is one that is extremely popular, but it's After the Hunt, right? This is Luca Guadagnino's new film, director of Challengers, and Guadagnino do? I'm butchering his name. Did he do Saltburn? Am I right on that? What else did he do? He's done some other stuff, but Andrew Garfield might be my favorite actor of all time, maybe.
I think you've mentioned it before.
We are lagging terribly. I will keep going lagging? As. He said, "You're lagging." I think you're lagging, pal.
Sorry.
The delay. No. You're completely fine. I'm gonna keep talking about After the Hunt because it was funny how delayed that response was. But hold on. After the Hunt is about this scandal between this triangle of 2 college professors and I believe a teacher's assistant, and there's this scandal that goes down. And I guess it's kind of this thriller drama. And, if you have Andrew Garfield attached, I'm going to watch it. And you have Ayo Adebayo in there as well, which I think Opus, great underrated movie of the year. I know a lot of people weren't super fond on it, but I really enjoyed it. And, of course, The Bear. She also voices April in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, I believe. So it's a movie that I'm thoroughly excited for. But my number 2 is The Smashing Machine. I don't have a clip for this one, but we do have a picture, I think, somewhere around here. Do we? Did we snap a picture of that, or did we get a video of this one?
We should.
Picture. I don't think we have a picture. No, I don't think I have a video either. But it's okay. Let's go back to this.
Stocks are plummeting the company already.
Yeah, right? All right, so The Smashing Machine's my second movie that I'm most anticipated for, right? I think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is an incredibly underrated actor. And it's going to sound crazy. I think he does have range. I think he's just fallen into his niche because that's where the money is. But, I mean, I think if you go back into, earlier into his career, I think he's had some performances, like Pain and Gain. I guess you could kind of bring up Ballers, maybe the TV show he had on Showtime, I believe. I think that he has the acting chops, and I think this movie's really gonna prove that. And he's also a front runner for Best Actor at the Oscars. this upcoming Oscar season, and I love those like sports biopic films. Very intrigued for this one. Also, I believe Emily Blunt is the co-lead in this, the co-star. That's a great cast. Jungle Cruise, anybody? Jungle Cruise reunion? Yeah, I'm super pumped for it. But the movie that I'm most excited for the rest of the year, and this is a movie that I've been super excited for a while now, is The Long Walk, and I'm hearing great reviews for it right now. I think on Rotten Tomatoes it's got a perfect 100% score as of now, the time that we're recording it. To be fair, it is 19 critic reviews, but still 100%. I will take it. I've heard that it's got some great performances. I'm excited to see Mark Hamill in the role here, right? It's going to be interesting as kind of like this villain, this antagonist in this film. And, based off a Stephen King novel, of course, and it's directed by the guy who did, I don't know if he did all the Hunger Game movies, but I think he did at least the first two, Francis something.
Francis Lawrence, I believe.
Francis Lawrence, I believe that is it. I'm super pumped for it. And I think this comes out in 2 weeks. So this is my most anticipated movie. I think that this has a great chance. I think 1 through 3 that I've listed on my most anticipated have a great chance to be in my top 10 movies of the year by the end of the year. That is my list, though. Let's get to your list, Len, so that we can close off this episode. And Len. Okay.
Drum roll.
All right, start talking so I can get this banner up. Yes, you can.
Yes.
Give us your number 5. I will.
My number 5.
I'm just trying to find the picture for it.
No problem. My number 5 upcoming movie of the year is Wicked for Good.
Wicked for Good. Okay, let me put that in. I don't know what happened to your banner. I'm sorry. Silly me.
It's okay. It's okay.
You can go on, man. I got the clips for it, Len.
Thank you. Thanks, Kel. Back to me. All right.
Then back to you, Len.
So I think I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Wicked movie. I thought it was too long. But I didn't know that, actually. Yeah, I thought it was a bit too long. I got a little bored towards the end. But I thought that in terms of the colors and the style and the use of practical sets, and I thought even the musical numbers were great in this movie. I think Ariana Grande had a great performance. Jeff Goldblum as the wizard and the whole face when the wizard comes up, it's amazing. And I don't know anything about the Wicked musical or the story, so I have no clue what to expect coming into this movie. I know we have a little bet on the box office for this one.
We do. Do you want to tell the viewers our bet, Len?
Yes. What was the exact number we had? What was it?
I believe it was it 750? I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was 7.
So I think it'll gross. I think it will gross over 750. Len doesn't think it will gross over 750. So we have a little $5 wager on that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little under. I think it being a sequel and probably having a decent runtime and competing with other movies as well.
Sequels usually do better. I'm just putting that out there. Sequels usually do better.
Nope. Not for me.
Not with this logic.
Not with this logic.
Not with this logic. Nope.
But
are you ready to move on to your number 4, or is there something else that you want to say for?
Nope. I'm ready for my number 4.
All right.
My number 4, Avatar: Fire and Ash. So this movie almost is like the opposite of Wicked for Good in terms of digital effects. And one thing I'm excited for is with each one of these movies and how long of a gap they have, they really try and push what they can do with CGI and their digital effects to the limits. These movies always look beautiful. Not the biggest fan of the first movie, but it's great in terms of world building.
I still think it's a good movie. It's not as good as the second, though. I agree.
Yeah, I think the second was a really good movie. Obviously, they're long films, but I think it's kind of almost their staple now for being at least 3 hours each. And now we have the biggest villain in the movie is this evil tribe that teams up with the humans, but just hates their planet. It's a really good contrast to everything we've seen with the Na'vi in the first 2 films. So
yeah. Now your number 3 caught me off guard, but it does have one of my favorite actors in it. And it's out this weekend, I think, right?
It's out Thursday. Once this is posted, it'll be out tomorrow.
I was looking and I couldn't find any showings for it near me. So, but anyways, take it away.
Yeah.
Sell me on this movie, Len. Sell me on this movie.
Okay. So obviously, one of your favorite actors, Dylan O'Brien, Maze Runner guy.
Love.
All right.
Love Dylan O'Brien.
Their main character, and also directs this movie. It follows James Sweeney and Dylan O'Brien's characters, who are in a support group because they each lost a twin.
Mm-hmm.
Which probably gives a little more context to that one clip where he's opening a Pop-Tart and there's only one.
Yeah.
I don't think you see
I kind of figured that.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens to one of their twins, or what happened to where he's dead because of something said. Like, Dylan O'Brien almost makes it seem like maybe he did something. But ever since I found out that Dylan O'Brien was in this movie, I have been very excited. It's just very coincidental that it is coming out very soon. So that is my number 3.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear your thoughts on your number 2.
All right, my number 2 movie of the year, Frankenstein. This is a movie I've been very excited for. It's a Frankenstein, as we all know, is fantasy. Ends of Guillermo del Toro, who is an amazing fantasy director. Pan's Labyrinth, Shape of Water, Pinocchio. I would normally be nervous about a Netflix release, but considering Guillermo del Toro and then the cast with Oscar Isaac, Mia Goth, Christopher Waltz,
Jacob Elordi's in this one, right?
Oh, yeah, he I believe plays. I think they call him the creature in this. He plays what should be Frankenstein's monster.
Andrew Garfield is supposed to be in this movie.
Yes, he was supposed to be Jacob Elordi's character, actually.
Yeah, that's depressing for me.
Yeah, but I'm guessing he had scheduling conflicts with After the Hunt, which is what you talked about. I'm assuming that's why he couldn't be in this one. But even just looking at the trailer and the behind-the-scenes photos, the cinematography and the sets in this movie, it's just, I can't help but be excited. It's the score too is Displat, a great composer. I just can't help but be excited for this film.
All right. Let's bring it to your number 1, which we don't have any media for, but we have this beautiful ranking time graphic.
Ranking time. So, Smashing Machine. Ever since The Rock was announced to be in a serious A24 movie, I have been so on board. Like, this has been my number 1 movie of the year, let alone the rest of the year, since it was announced. The trailer playing My Way. He got a 15-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival.
I saw that, yeah.
Like you said, it's not that I think he's going to do really good. I think people hate on him because he got into his comfort zone and now he has to step out of it and he has to really show his skills. And Benny Safdie, great director, Uncut Gems, good time. Emily Blunt is a great co-star. And I feel like these biopic movies tend to do pretty well as well.
Oh, it's gonna do. At least it will do great in the Oscar season.
Yeah,
In contention for many awards, I believe. 100%.
Yeah, and I know he lost a lot of weight, and he said he wants to kind of stop caring about box office numbers, which I'm hoping we get some great performances from The Rock in the future too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, certainly. All right, guys, that is our top 5 most anticipated movies for the rest of the year, the rest of 2025. Let us know your top 5 most anticipated movies down below in the comments. And that concludes the segment and concludes this podcast. So let's get this ranking time picture out of here. Goodbye, ranking time. Goodbye. Let's get back to our normal background and pop that logo off. They're right there. Oh, and here we are at the beautiful Heroically Watching Pod home screen. Yeah, so I think this is a decent first episode, right?
Yeah, I feel like it went pretty well.
Yeah.
Getting into the groove.
Yeah, 100%. If there's any kind of questions that you guys have for us, we could build in a segment towards the end of the podcast where we can take any questions. So comment any of that down below, and then we'll see what we'll do for our segments for next week. We should definitely cover Peacemaker, I think, the 3rd episode.
Next week? Oh, Peacemaker, yes.
I don't think we'll be able to cover Conjuring Last Rites, but maybe we'll try to cover Twinless. And whatever other comic book and movie news comes out, we can discuss, and we'll think of some engaging kind of topics that we could talk about that aren't necessarily relevant to current news, but could spark debate and good fun discussion. Okay. All right, let's sign off of here. Len, let me hear your final remarks. Say goodbye to the beautiful people watching and listening to our podcast. That's only available on YouTube as of right now.
Well, this is Len. Thank you to anyone who tuned in. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked our opinions. Sorry if I suck a little bit. I'm trying.
No, you did great. This is Len's first time, guys.
Thank you, Cal.
You're welcome. All right. That concludes the very first episode of the Heroically Watching Podcast. We'll catch you next Wednesday on the next episode with great new topics to discuss. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, please, and comment whatever you want down below. And we'll catch you on the next one.